Heartwarming journey, poor girl discovers incredible truth about billionaire's deaf son that changes everything. Lily brushed her unruly hair from her face, her heart racing as she stood before the grand entrance of the charity gala. The twinkling lights danced like a million stars overhead, yet she felt the weight of the world pressing down on her thin shoulders. As she took a deep breath, the air felt thick with unspoken words and desperate dreams. In this tightly knit American town, where everyone knew each other's business, Lily's struggles loomed over her like an unyielding shadow. Every part-time job she juggled to support her single mother fed the fire of her determination, but it also burned deeply, leaving her yearning for more than just survival. Amid the polished silverware and fraying hand-me-downs, Lily encountered Ethan. The deaf son of the billionaire who funded this very event. Ethan stood quietly, a storm of expectations swirling in his stormy eyes. Their initial meeting felt wrong, like two pieces from different puzzles that never quite fit. His silence echoed in her heart, mirroring her own feelings of isolation. As he fidgeted with his cufflinks, she fought to suppress her insecurities. He was from a world of wealth, a realm Lily could only dream about, but as the night wore on, things began to shift. Their gazes intertwined, and Lily decided to bridge the gap using sign language, a skill she had picked up from her childhood friends. To her surprise, Ethan's face lit up like 1,000 fireworks. They communicated awkwardly at first, hands flailing and stumbling over signs, but the joy that followed was undeniable. Lily felt a surge of understanding as every gesture formed a bond between them. They shared a deep longing for connection. He yearned to escape his father's impossible standards, and she craved the missing piece of her family puzzle, her estranged father. The moments they spent talking revealed layers beneath their seeming differences. Lily learned about the looming threat of being sent away to a prestigious boarding school, a prison hidden beneath luxury for Ethan. Tears welled in her eyes when he revealed that his father viewed his deafness as a disgrace. Each newfound revelation filled the room with heavy emotion. For Lily, their shared struggles became a glimmer of hope in a world driven by judgment and rejection. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but just when things seemed to flow effortlessly, a betrayal cut through the fragile friendship like glass. Lily learned that Ethan's father planned to slash funding for the charity they both praised, branding it a waste of money. Hurt and anger surged within her. How could someone powerful disregard the voices of those in need? With the gala rising in intensity, the climactic confrontation loomed. Both teenagers stood at a precipice, burdened not only by family turmoil but also the societal divides that threatened their burgeoning bond. Would they dare to challenge the expectations breathing down their necks? And could they fight for what they believed, even as the shadows of betrayal threatened to tear them apart? As the event approached, tensions tightened like a coiled spring. Could their friendship withstand the storm that had only just begun? Lily's heart raced as she watched the glittering crowd swirl around her, laughter and voices filling the grand room like an exhilarating tornado. But beneath the excitement, a storm of emotions brewed within her. The night felt fragile now, like a thin layer of glass ready to shatter at any moment. Ethan stood a few feet away, his expression a mix of confusion and hurt. The sight of him, so vulnerable yet so strong, tugged at Lily's heartstrings. She felt responsible for what might happen next. Could she really confront the source of their pain? Taking a step closer, Lily signed, "Are you okay?" Ethan's gaze flickered up. His expression softened for a brief moment before shadows clouded his eyes. "No," he signed back, his movements sharp and precise, like metal striking against metal. He didn't need to voice the words aloud to convey the weight of sorrow. She wanted to reach out and hold his hand, but something held her back, a fear of being rejected for her humble background. "Your father." Lily hesitated, glancing over her shoulder as if his father might materialize from the crowd. "He doesn't get it, does he?" A flicker of anger ignited in Ethan's eyes. He shook his head emphatically, his hands moving faster now, punctuating each sign with pent-up frustration. He thinks money solves everything. That I'm a problem to fix. Her heart ached. You are not a problem, Ethan. You're amazing. It was a simple truth but one that felt monumental among all the doubt. As if the word struck a chord, a shadow passed over Ethan's face. Amazing, huh? Only because you don't see me as he does. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the noise around them faded away. It was just the two of them, connected through their shared struggles. Lily's spirit flickered with determination. This was a battle worth fighting. With renewed strength, she stepped into the tumultuous sea of guests and motioned for Ethan to follow. We need to talk to him. Together. Ethan faltered, his brow furrowing. Are you sure? Yes. Your voice matters. So does mine. She clutched his arm, trying to pull him along, but he hesitated, uncertainty etched in every line of his face. What if he hates me even more for trying to stand up? Lily's grip tightened. Then we'll face that together. I can't stand by and watch your voice go unheard. Look around. This charity means something. To us. A swell of passion coursed through her, igniting the courage she didn't know she had. Ethan surveyed the crowd, faces lit by shimmering lights, smiles dancing, but all he could see was a world that could easily snuff out their hopes. Yet, a tiny flicker of belief sparked within him. You're right. He needs to see that I'm not a disgrace. Exactly. Let us be his wake-up call. They moved toward the other side of the gala, weaving between elegantly dressed guests, each step heavy yet filled with purpose. But as they approached the table where Ethan's father sat, laughter suddenly turned into an ominous hush. Eyes shifted, and whispers flew through the air. The warmth of hope mingled with coldness of reality. Ethan slowed, the tension palpable as he spotted his father across the room, a steel-eyed figure discussing something with other influencers. Was it possible he could change his mind? Could they really stand against the tide of wealth and expectation together? As Ethan's heart thudded in his chest, Lily squeezed his hand one more time. Whatever happens next, we're in this together. With one last deep breath, they stepped forward, ready to face the father and the storm that loomed ahead. Would their combined voices finally pierce through the wall of indifference? But just as they were about to speak, a figure from the crowd moved toward them, a familiar face that could change everything. Who was it, and what did they want? Lily's breath caught as the figure emerged from the crowd. It was Sarah, Ethan's childhood friend, but she looked different now, tall, confident, and dressed to the nines. Her presence, once comforting, now felt like an unexpected hurricane. Ethan. Sarah beamed, rushing over with arms outstretched. The shock was palpable. Ethan barely had time to register her warmth before she enveloped him in a tight hug. I've missed you. I heard you'd be here. He hesitated, the weight of the evening pressing down on him. Would she understand what he was feeling right now? Sarah, he began, but her bright eyes didn't allow him to finish. You're doing amazing things, you know that. Everyone's talking about you. Your art is being showcased, isn't it? Lily watched the exchange, unsure if Sarah's enthusiasm was a lifeline or a distraction. But amidst the warmth of the reunion, she felt a flicker of jealousy. Ethan seemed to light up in a way he hadn't before. Yeah, I'm trying, he signed awkwardly, glancing back at Lily. But Sarah didn't miss a beat. You don't have to try, you are. And your father? He is here tonight, right? She tilted her head, her expression eager. At the mere mention of Ethan's father, the atmosphere shifted. Ethan's face fell, and he looked like he was fighting against a rising tide. Actually, he started, but the words hung, weighted by emotions too heavy to express. Lily stepped in, grasping for the moment. We need to talk to him, all of us. It's important. Sarah blinked, her excitement wavering as confusion flashed across her face. Talk to Mr. Collins. About what? About him seeing Ethan for who he really is, Lily said. Not just a name or a number. Sarah's face turned serious, and the playful spark dimmed. Okay, but maybe we should wait. He's not exactly known for being open. Ethan's shoulders drooped. He needs to see that I'm not ashamed of who I am. That I'm more than what his world wanted me to be. Sarah's expression softened, and she placed a hand on Ethan's arm. You're stronger than you think, Ethan. Lily felt her heart swell with pride for him, but fear lurked beneath. What if the power of their resolve crumbled in front of the man who defined their struggles? Just then, the sound of laughter erupted nearby as another group joined the gala's atmosphere. Cries of delight surged as the energy of the room surged back into a dizzying whirl. But for Lily and Ethan, all that noise faded into a distant murmur. Should we go find him? Ethan asked, glancing between Sarah and Lily, uncertainty intertwining with burgeoning courage. Yes. Urged Sarah, her voice firm. I'll stand with you. With newfound strength, the trio stepped towards the table where Ethan's father sat, laughing and gesturing broadly, oblivious to the turmoil around him. As they approached, Ethan's heart raced, echoing the struggles of his past, the doubts lingering in his mind. If they could just get his father to notice. But as they reached the table and Ethan opened his mouth to speak, an unforeseen interruption shook their resolve. Ah, there they are. My triumphant star. His father shouted, his booming voice slicing through the tension. The room turned to face them, and the laughter quieter. Ethan's father, radiating confidence, looked down at his son with an expression that was hard to decipher. Was it pride, disdain, or something else entirely? In that flicker of a moment, the world stood still. Would they finally break through the facade? Just as Ethan was about to respond, a hush swept through the room when another shadow loomed in the doorway, commanding attention, a face Ethan had never expected to see again. What was going to happen next? Ethan's heart dropped as the figure in the doorway became clear. It was Vanessa, his estranged mother, her presence a ghost unearthed from the past he'd tried to bury. She hadn't aged much, but the once warm smile now felt filled with something heavy, regret, perhaps. A murmur of surprise rippled through the crowd. Whispers spilled from the lips of the guests, and the air thickened with apprehension. Vanessa's eyes darted around the room, landing finally on Ethan. Shock flickered in her expression. Ethan, she breathed, almost inaudibly. His father's face hardened, a flash of something unrecognizable crossing his features. The table they approached now felt like a battleground, and Ethan was at the center, pulled between two worlds. Is this part of your act, Ethan? His father barked, venom creeping into his tone as he gestured dismissively toward Vanessa. You know how I feel about those who disappear. Ethan's stomach twisted. He didn't want to dive into this tumult, especially not now when he'd finally mustered the courage to be who he was, yet here was a blast from the past forcing him to confront everything he had fought against. Let him speak, Sarah interjected, stepping slightly in front of Ethan as if to shield him. He's doing this for himself, not for anyone else. Maybe you should stay out of this, Sarah, Vanessa countered, her voice trembling. What do you know about our family? Lily felt the tension climbing, an invisible weight pressing against her chest. She didn't know if it was better to keep pushing everyone toward resolution or to let the storm surge and meet them where they were. This scene was unfolding in stark contrasts. Ethan was here claiming his voice while the shadows of his past closed in around him. Stop, Ethan's voice came out stronger than he expected, cutting through the chaos. Both of you. This isn't about old grudges or mistakes. This is about me. In the acute silence that followed, he wanted to reach for certainty, but all he felt was vulnerability. His mind raced. What if they never understood? What if this moment buried him deeper into doubt? You left, he went on, finding his footing. You left without a word, and I had to learn everything on my own. I didn't know how to reach you. I still don't. Vanessa's expression wavered, her eyes glossing over with unshed tears. Ethan, I'm sorry. I thought it would be better. He shot back. A flicker of rage ignited within him, a spark he hadn't expected. Better for who? For you. Or for my father, who couldn't accept my choices? His father inhaled sharply, clearly unprepared for this confrontation. The tension in the air thickened, the ballroom now feeling less like a festive gala and more like a space of reckoning. Sarah and Lily stood behind Ethan, unyielding and silent, an unwavering support. Whatever happens here tonight isn't just between us, Ethan continued, heart pounding. It's about what I need to feel whole again. I'm more than your whispers or expectations. I have a voice now. The crowd was still, faces reflecting a mix of shock and concern, witnessing a son standing boldly against the legacies that loomed large over him. Yet even as he said those words, doubt gnawed at him. Was it truly possible for his parents to change? Just then, a trembling voice broke the silence. Please let me explain, Vanessa said, her eyes pleading. Ethan felt the weight of the moment press upon him, a culmination of years lost and battles fought. What if this was the chance to rewrite their story? But as he prepared to respond, a familiar face appeared behind Vanessa, a stranger to him, yet familiar like the pull of destiny. He squinted against the light, curiosity and dread intertwining. Who was this new presence, and how would they change everything? Ethan's heart raced, anticipation coursing through his veins. What would happen next? Ethan's breath caught in his throat as the new figure approached the table, the soft murmur of the crowd fading into a distant hum. There was something magnetic about the stranger. His heart was a pendulum, swinging between hope and dread. She stepped into the light, revealing a young woman with an unmistakable sense of purpose. Her dark hair fell in waves around her shoulders, framing a face that radiated empathy. Ethan felt an unpredictable surge of connection. It was as if he recognized her from somewhere deep within his memories. Who are you? He managed to ask, his voice barely above a whisper. The room hung in the balance, breaths caught, eyes darting between him, Vanessa, and the newcomer. I'm Mia, she replied, her eyes locking onto his with a fierce intensity. I'm here because I know things. Things? Vanessa echoed, confusion knitting her brow. Yes, Mia stated firmly, glancing at Ethan. I attended the same support group as Ethan. I've seen the pain this family has caused him firsthand. Ethan felt a rush of affirmation ripple through him. She was someone who understood, someone who had shared in that darkness. The tension shifted, brewing uncertainty among the guests. Sarah stepped up, projecting strength. What do you mean, you know things? Mia took a deep breath, preparing to pull back a curtain they had all been too afraid to peek behind. I know about Ethan's journey. I know why he struggled. And I know why you left, Vanessa. Her voice wavered slightly, echoing a vulnerability that matched the room's atmosphere. You have a son who grew strong without the family's support. He fought through grief and doubt, but he is ready to heal now. And you can help him. Ethan felt every word pierce him with an urgent clarity. Everyone in the ballroom had their eyes glued on this confrontation. Help? You think this is about help? His father scoffed, rising from his seat with a fulminating fury. This is a joke. You come here with a sob story and pretend to understand. Dad, please, let her talk. Ethan pleaded. His heart raced, his desperate hope battling against the weight of his father's disdain. Mia turned her gaze to Ethan's father, her voice steady. It's not about pretending. It's about confronting the truth. This family needs to face what happened, and how it affected Ethan. Ethan looked to his mother, searching for a flicker of understanding in her eyes. He had spent years wanting to know why she chose silence. Maybe this was his chance to grasp the pieces of the past together. I'm here because I believe that healing happens when we confront our truth, Mia continued. And you, Vanessa, owe it to your son, and to yourself, to explain. We all deserve that chance. Ethan swallowed hard, his throat dry. Would his mother meet him halfway, or would she retreat? The stillness felt almost unbearable, every second stretching long enough for him to feel the weight of his own breathing. "Why did you leave me?" he asked his mother softly, vulnerability spilling from his veins. "Was I the reason you felt you had to go?" Vanessa's composure faltered, emotion teasing at the edges of her steadfastness. Tears welling in her eyes, she opened her mouth, ready to speak at last. But would the truth bring relief or further fracture their fragile connection? Before Vanessa could start, a sharp sound cut through the tension, a cell phone vibrating loudly on the table. The intrusion was jarring, pulling attention away from the heart of their moment. Ethan's frustration peaked. Would his moment of confrontation be interrupted again? Who had the audacity to disrupt this fragile space they were making? But then, Ethan's eyes locked onto Sarah's as she picked up the phone. Her expression shifted, surprise flashing in her gaze, and he could feel the tension escalate yet again. "It's my mom," she whispered, pale and trembling. This wasn't just a family drama anymore, it felt like they were stepping into the door of a much larger storm. What did Sarah's mother want? And how was it going to reshape the night ahead? Ethan's heart raced again, caught in the dizzying web of emotions and revelations looming on the horizon. As the phone rang, the echoes of unspoken truths hung heavy in the air. Would this moment unravel them all or stitch them back together? Sarah's hands trembled as she answered the phone. The murmurs of the crowd faded, leaving only the ringing sound resonating in the silence. She stepped aside, her face an unreadable mask before she turned away, cradling the phone closer to her ear. Ethan watched her, heart pounding, feeling the shift in energy thread through the room like an electric shock. "What is it?" she whispered urgently. It was a question, but it stung with an urgency that drew Ethan further into the web of tension. He caught snippets of the conversation, each word tugging at his heart. I didn't know if I should call. No, it's just, she needs me." Anxiety laced her voice. The colors of her face drained, replaced by a sickly pallor. Ethan exchanged glances with Mia, who remained steadfast, her eyes never leaving Sarah. The uncertainty had shifted into a darker hue, and it felt like more secrets were about to spill into the fragile atmosphere they had been striving to mend. "Do you want me to come?" Sarah finally asked, her face resolving into something even more serious. She nodded slowly as she listened, tearing her gaze away to scan the room. The crowd had become unnervingly quiet, all eyes honing in on her as if they were listening to a live performance. I'll be right there," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper before she hung up the phone. She took a step back, drawing in a shaky breath. "My mom, she's in the hospital." The impact of her words landed heavily, the weight of them rippling through the group. Gasps ebbed from the guests, eyes widening in concern and curiosity. A chorus of murmurs soon followed, like waves crashing against a rocky shore. Ethan felt a swell of empathy for Sarah, yet a pang of frustration burrowed deep, twisting his gut. This turbulent night hadn't been about her. He needed to confront the truth about his own life. "Are you okay?" Mia stepped forward, her demeanor shifting to that of a protector. "Yeah, I have to go," Sarah whispered, fighting to maintain her composure. Her eyes darted between Ethan and his family, as if begging for permission or understanding. "Wait," Ethan called after her, his emotions surging. "What if it's important? You just found your mom, you can't leave now." "It's not safe for me to stay," she replied, the fear evident beneath her words. "I need to be there for her." Before he could say anything further, Sarah was already moving through the crowd, weaving her way toward the exit. The atmosphere among the guests shifted noticeably, their eyes tracking her hurried escape. Ethan felt like a marionette with cut strings, helpless and unmoored. Whatever strong current they had been navigating was broken, leaving him unwound and exposed. He turned back to his parents, searching their faces for some sign of understanding, but met only shadows of frustration. "It's a distraction," his father muttered, fuming, crossing his arms tight across his chest. "This night was supposed to be about Ethan and your mother fixing things." "Enough." Ethan snapped back, surprising even himself. The surge of adrenaline propelled him forward. I can't fix things until I know where we stand. Sarah's right, we can't pretend everything is fine when it's not. Or when there are truths still lingering. The room fell into an eerie silence again, everyone absorbing the truth of his words. Mia stood resolutely beside him, her presence like a banner of hope. Vanessa's gaze shifted between him and his father, her tears spilling over like rain droplets on a dusty road. Ethan, she started, her voice raw and trembling. You deserve answers, I just don't know how to say it. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the electric charge settle within him. This was where they began to unravel the tangled threads of their past, one word, one moment at a time. But as the door swung closed behind Sarah, he couldn't shake the sense that their talk would have to wait. Uncertainty loomed greater than before. Would they find their way through the darkness together, or would past pains sever their bonds even further? The night was still young, and the answers were yet to come. Hushed whispers lingered in the air, unraveling like strings of tension that linked everyone in the room. Ethan felt the weight of those stares pressing down on him, stifling. Mia stood close, eyes wide with concern, but he needed her strength now more than ever. We need to talk, he said, more to himself than anyone else. His heart hammered as he turned to face his parents, the silence between them thick and demanding. Vanessa stepped forward, hope mingling with fear darkening her features. Ethan, your father and we've been talking about a lot of things that we never fully faced. I think now might be our only chance. His spine straightened, feeling an unquenched desire for truth surge through him. If we're going to do this, then let's do it. Right now. Sarah's gone, and I can't let her absence be another distraction. His father rubbed his temples, and for a moment, the room felt suspended in time. Then, with a sigh that echoed around them, he nodded. You're right. We've kept you in the dark for too long. What else is there? Ethan pressed, desperation weaving through his voice. I need to know the whole picture. Before I can even think about moving forward, I have to understand what happened between us, what caused this mess. Vanessa stepped closer, her hands trembling at her sides. There were mistakes, Ethan. So many mistakes. We thought we were protecting you, but what we did instead was bury the truth. You have to know that both your father and Mom, just tell me what I don't know, he interrupted, urgency spilling over. Why was Dad angry? Why didn't you ever talk about what really happened? His mother's breath hitched, and Ethan could see the shadows of memories play across her eyes. There was pain painted on her face, sorrow that had lingered too long. It was about a choice, Ethan. A choice I made when you were younger. One that led us down a path you never were meant to walk. Ethan's pulse quickened, anticipation and anxiety mixing in a dizzying cocktail. What choice? His father cleared his throat, his voice hoarse as he spoke. We thought your mother's past would put you in danger. We lied to you when we said it was nothing. But that lie created the cracks between us. Your mother was fiercely protective, and in doing so, she became, well, she didn't trust me like she should have. The words slashed through the air, they hit Ethan squarely in the chest. You were keeping secrets from me. From both of us. He blurted, hurt morphing into anger. What if it was important? What if we could have dealt with it together? Vanessa's eyes glistened with unshed tears, plagued by regret. We were scared, Ethan. Scared of losing you and terrified of what the truth could do. What truth? His voice raised slightly, but behind the agitation lay a flicker of hope. Maybe this was the moment they could begin healing, together. Just then, the door creaked open, and all heads turned toward the interruption. Sarah stood there, breathless, her eyes wide with alarm. I think you need to hear this. Ethan felt a wave of uncertainty crash over him. The room was poised on a knife's edge, and it became clear that whatever secrets were left hanging in the air could change everything. What could Sarah possibly reveal now? With all eyes on her, he felt a chill run down his spine, apprehensive yet eager for the truths that could finally set them free. Sarah took a cautious step forward, her chest heaving slightly. The air crackled with anticipation, every silent gaze tugging at the edges of her resolve. I didn't want to interrupt, but I just got back from talking to someone who knows a lot about your family. Ethan squinted, bewildered. What do you mean? Who? What are you talking about? It's about your mother's past, she said, her voice shaking but determined. There's so much more to it than any of you realize. Vanessa's eyes widened, her grip tightening on the arm of the chair she stood next to. Sarah, what do you know? The room felt electric, each heartbeat a drum in the tense silence. Ethan's breath caught in his throat, a curious blend of dread and anticipation swirling in his chest. Just tell us, please. I met someone who knew your mother before she married your dad. A family friend. They said there were things that happened, things that weren't supposed to come to light, that she never wanted to talk about. They're the reason your mother has been acting the way she has. Sarah swallowed hard, the weight of her knowledge visible on her face. Ethan's heart raced. What things? What are you hiding from me? A whole world you don't know. Sarah's voice softened, now tinged with empathy. It's dark and complicated, and... Then why don't we go through it together? Vanessa interrupted, the urgency in her tone higher than ever. If this is the moment we've been waiting for, we can't let fear stop us again. Ethan could feel the pulse of tension throbbing throughout the room. He glanced between his parents and Sarah, weighing the fear and confusion that clouded their expressions. Mom? Dad? Is it true? Is there something you haven't told me about where all of this started? His father's gaze fell to the ground, and in that moment of silence, it was clear that a storm was brewing beneath the surface. There are things about your mother's childhood that I didn't want to burden you with. Things that could change how you see us, how you see her. Vanessa's voice quaked. We were afraid, Ethan. Afraid of dragging you into old demons that were never meant to touch your life. But keeping those secrets has done more harm than good. So, what are we doing here? Ethan crossed his arms, frustration boiling just beneath the surface. You need to tell me. All of it, right now. As the shadows of the past loomed larger, Ethan felt a surge of deep-rooted emotion swell within him, pain, confusion, but also hope for clarity. This was the moment the door to understanding and healing was ajar, and they had to push through it together. Right, Sarah said, her resolve returning. I think the only way to begin is to face the truth that has been hidden for far too long. And it's not just about your mother anymore, it involves all of us. As she spoke, Ethan felt something shift within him. He didn't know if it was readiness or dread, but he was sure of one thing: sometimes the truth often hurt, but it could also free you in ways you never imagined. But just as they steeled themselves for the storm ahead, the phone on the coffee table buzzed loudly, breaking their fragile moment. Ethan reached over, picking it up, glancing at the screen. And his heart dropped that it was a message from Sarah's source. You need to see this. It can't wait. He could barely breathe. This wasn't over, it was just the beginning. Ethan stared at the screen, the words swimming before his eyes as adrenaline kicked in. He held the phone tightly, as if it were a fragile glass ball that might shatter with the wrong movement. What does it say? Vanessa's voice cut through his racing thoughts, but he was too stunned to respond. Please, it says I need to see it right now, he managed to say, glancing up at Sarah, whose expression mirrored his tension. What if it's something bad? What if it complicates things even more? Vanessa whispered, stepping closer. Ethan felt a knot tightening in his gut. We can't back down now. If there's more to this, we need to know. He hesitated for a moment, then pressed the notification. A jumble of images and text flooded his vision. Each oppressive second felt like an eternity as he studied the small screen, searching for clarity amidst the chaos. Then he saw it, a photograph of a younger woman, a striking resemblance to his mother, standing in front of a large, ornate mansion. Beside her stood a man with a familiar silhouette, his mother's father. There was a message, too. Your mother was more than just a daughter, she was a key player in a legacy of secrets. A chill ran down Ethan's spine as the truth started to dawn on him. This was at the turning point. A breath hitched in his throat as he scanned the text. Family tensions, hidden affiliations, they warned that the past could resurface at any moment. He glanced at Sarah as if seeking her strength. What does this mean, Sarah? What could it uncover? I don't know, Sarah replied, biting her lip. But if it's true, Vanessa's voice trembled. We need to prepare ourselves. We've come this far, we can't just give up now. Ethan nodded sharply, pulling in a deep breath. So what do we do now? Do we reach out to the source? Get more information? As if sensing the building momentum in the room, Sarah stepped forward. I think we have to go see them. Whoever they are. We cannot fight ghosts in the dark. We need to confront this head-on. The thought of facing unknown horrors made Ethan's insides twist painfully. But the idea of shadows stalking their lives, driving wedges between him and his family, that was worse. Okay, he said, his voice steadying, we've spent too long running from this. If we're going to understand what is going on, we need to dig deep. Vanessa took a breath, meeting Ethan's eyes. In that fleeting moment, they exchanged a conviction that felt almost like a promise. They were in this together. But what if your mom finds out? What if she doesn't want you to? Vanessa asked, her worry palpable. Ethan's heart raced as he thought of his parents. Then we'll have to convince her. We deserve to know the truth, even if it hurts or even if it changes everything. With resolve swelling in his chest, he tapped the screen and clicked reply, forming a message that felt monumental. We need to meet. Tell me where. Sarah leaned closer, her breath steadying him. Whatever happens, we take it step by step. No running, no hiding. Suddenly, his phone buzzed again. His heart jumped as another message came through. The truth is closer than you think. Meet me at the old house by the river. Your past awaits. Ethan's stomach dropped at the chilling finality. Just outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows against the walls. They stood on the precipice of something monumental, moments away from unraveling the life they thought they knew. Are you ready? Sarah asked, her eyes bright with determination. Ethan glanced back at his parents, who stood apart, uncertainty etched in their expressions. Was this the moment that would redefine everything? He felt fear and hope intertwine, and he couldn't ignore the truth that had begun to unfurl. Ready or not, we have to go, he said quietly. And just as they turned to leave, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that the truth they sought was just the beginning. What awaited them at that old house? The answers, or perhaps even more questions? The gathering storm loomed over the gala, its oppressive weight holding everyone in a tense silence. Ethan felt a mixture of dread and anticipation swirl within him, but determination anchored his feet to the ground. This was at a moment to reclaim his story and confront the shadows obscuring his family's truth. As they moved toward the exit, Ethan's heart pounded louder than the music echoing within the grand hall. Sarah didn't look back, her urgency pushing them forward. They rushed outside, the cool night air refreshing, but it barely eased the dread knotted in his stomach. Where to? Sarah asked, glancing nervously at Ethan. The old house by the river, he replied, his voice low and steady. The time for questions was over. Now was the time for answers. The drive felt like a blur, the world outside the car speeding past as if it existed in another dimension. Ethan's mind raced with fragmented memories of whispered secrets and shadows of betrayal. What lay ahead wasn't just a confrontation, it was a reckoning. As they reached the old house, Ethan's breath hitched in his throat. It was just as he remembered, timeless yet haunting, standing at the edge of the river like an ancient sentinel. He couldn't shake the feeling that something inside had been waiting for him to return. This is it, Ethan whispered, stepping out of the car. Sarah and Mia followed with resolute expressions, a united front against the unknown, when they entered the house, the air felt thick, heavy with stories unspoken. The faint smell of damp wood mixed with the river's fresh scent. Ghostly echoes of laughter and sorrow flitted through Ethan's mind. Here was the place where everything began and perhaps where it could also heal. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from behind as Ethan's parents entered. Vanessa's face flickered with a mix of conviction and fear, while his father's normally stoic expression wore the uncertainty of a man caught in the consequences of his choices. "We didn't want to burden you," his father said, his voice steady but fraught. "And now, here we are. What do you want?" Ethan shot back, eyes ablaze. "To keep hiding? Or can we finally face this for what it is?" Vanessa took a deep breath. "Ethan, there are reasons we kept silent. Reasons I thought would protect you from our history." Ethan shook his head, frustration boiling within him. "It hasn't protected me. It only built a wall between us. I need to know who I really am. Who you both really are." A heavy silence stretched before them. The weight of secrets hung between Ethan and his family like a tightly wound coil. And just when he thought they were pushing against the walls that confined them, Mia stepped forward, eyes ablaze with clarity. "There's strength in vulnerability. You have to share your truth, even if it's painful. It could set you free." Ethan nodded toward Mia, her resolve infectious. The way she spoke stirred something deep inside him. He turned back to his parents, ready to pierce the veil of silence. "Mom, what did you think I couldn't handle? What happened to you before? Tell me," he urged, his voice rising. Vanessa stepped closer, tears glistening in her eyes. "There was a time before you were born. A life I thought I left behind. A family embroiled in chaos. I tried to hide it so it wouldn't touch your life, but it has. It always has. Just tell me." Ethan exploded. "I've lived in the shadows long enough." With a trembling breath, Vanessa began to speak stories of familial discord and threats that had once threatened to consume her. Ethan listened, each word weaving the fabric of their history into something tangible, something real. As Vanessa unfolded her past, Ethan felt the gaps in their relationship slowly filling. What once seemed like burdens became shared experiences, a painful but honest connection. With every revelation, the barriers erected by fear began to erode, and then, Ethan steeled himself. "Dad, your turn. Let us peel back the layers." The resoluteness in Ethan's voice surprised even him, but he felt the hard edges of his pain beginning to soften. His father shifted, eyes darting between Ethan and Vanessa, the truths he had hidden for so long clawing at his conscience. "I made choices too. Out of love but also fear, I tried to control everything. But I had no right to silence your voice, Ethan." For the first time, Ethan noticed the vulnerability in his father's eyes. It pierced through his anger like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. This was a moment worth fighting for, the chance to redefine their family and break the cycles of fear. "Together, we can't let our past dictate our future. If we face it, we can cultivate a new beginning," Mia said softly, her silent strength emboldening the atmosphere. With their collective voices beginning to rise, Ethan felt the burden of their shared past transform. The stories told were painful yet powerful, holding the promise of healing and understanding. As they stood in the middle of the old house, a fragile yet potent thread of hope knitted them together. They were a family, imperfect but bound by their willingness to confront their past. With every struggle recounted, every tear shed, they fortified their new foundation, a collective promise to forge ahead together. In that moment of profound clarity, Ethan realized they weren't just stepping into the unknown, they were stepping toward a future where they could finally breathe free of the ghosts that had haunted them for far too long. As they exited the old house, the weight felt lighter, and hope kindled unyielding flames within them. No longer stifled by secrets, they could rebuild their family from the ashes and perhaps, in time, even learn to thrive. Together, they could choose courage over fear, connection over isolation, and emerge stronger than ever. Now was the time to acknowledge their truth and forge a new path. United in their resolve, they stepped into the bright glow of the future, ready for all that came next. And if you felt the energy of this transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now so we can keep bringing you these powerful stories. Comment below with your feelings about this journey, and don't stay quiet, share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Your support makes all the difference.